morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution. Happy Tuesday, I think. Is that right? Today is Tuesday. New coffee mug today. Barriques Madison. This was actually a gift. I live in a neighborhood where neighbors give you home welcoming gifts. Whatever. Welcome to the neighborhood gifts. So they're actually, shouldn't say that. They're just clients of my wife sold them their house like a block away. So they brought over coffee, wine, and a coffee mug. So I'm like, this is a nice mug. I'm going to use it. So thank you to the neighbors. So it is Tuesday. There's several things. I always come in the morning. I wake up and I'm like, what the hell am I going to talk about this morning? But today I actually have several things that I want to talk. In fact, I don't think I have a notepad. I have a pen, but no paper, because I'm going to forget something. I should do that. I should keep a topic ticker. Obviously, the title, What Doesn't Sell, is as important as what does sell, because that was brought up. I tweeted out my weekend outgoing mail, and I still had over 200, I think 201 packages still to go after that. It was a busy Monday. So I had some people, commenting, and one thing, it's like, what doesn't sell is actually as important as what does sell. We talk about what's selling on eBay. What can I sell on eBay? And it's not really black and white. And neither is what doesn't sell, because in the thumbnail, 1991 Fleer, I think I sold a 1991 Fleer yesterday out of my eBay store. So it's just one of those things where, am I going to spend time? Am I going to list last night, I listed a few hundred, like 70s cards, mostly common, a lot of commons, some stars, a lot of commons. Would I do that with 1991 Fleer? No, absolutely not. But I'll list a Frank Thomas, a Ken Griffey Jr., a Barry Bonds, because I know it doesn't sell. And even those players I just mentioned, it may take a while for them to sell. So knowing what doesn't sell is as important as knowing what does sell. So that's what the topic of the day is. I want to talk about that. Talked about my new coffee mug. I haven't tried the coffee yet that they gave us, so maybe tomorrow. What else do I want to talk about? We had one of my wife's friends came over to look at the house, and my wife yells my name, and I'm like, ooh, that doesn't, what's going on? So we had like a leaky pipe. Now, it wasn't a leaky pipe. It was a pipe that they didn't finish. Just wide open. And so I'm not a plumber. When I see things like this, I just assume, well, there's no water going into or out of that pipe, which is true. It was just the radon pipe. It's a pipe for the radon sensor. We got a ton of rain yesterday, so it wasn't like leaking from the water system. It was just rainfall getting into that pipe from the outside, and then it eventually dripped down. And it got like an exercise ball that we never use wet. And, it was in, the far corner of just basically, and it's in the far corner. So it wasn't even really in a spot where there is anything. So nothing got wet. So we were concerned why we don't want any moisture in the basement. So plumber comes over, and great guy. And looks at, and it was just they didn't close it off to extend the radon thing down into the floor. So we got that done. And so he comes in, and I'm sitting here just like I am. And he comes down through the garage. Wait, that's the wrong door. That door over there. So he pops in, lets me know everything's finished. He was here last week for the irrigation system. And he popped in and he goes, everything's done, blah, 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 blah. He's like, hey, so I've got a friend that is kind of getting into cards. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, so what? He's like, he goes to like Walmart and Target. He doesn't want to really get into it, but when he goes to Walmart and Target, he'll buy some stuff, and he just kind of wants to know what the best thing to buy is. So I'm like, well, usually Bowman is like the best for Walmart Target brand. And I said, if he's just ripping for fun and doesn't care about what he gets, you can buy anything. And just, it's kind of got to be his decision. Like, do you like this product? If he opens, get one of each, get 3 or 4 different brands, and then decide from there, hey, I like this box. This is fun. I enjoy it. I'm going to buy more of this. But if you're looking at it from a return on your investment, there's definitely some retail that you want to stay away from. You want to, find if it's out there. And I said Bowman is a pretty good one for retail. What else? What else did I say? I said Allen and Ginter's a new product that'll be coming out. It's it's a unique product. Some people love it. Some people hate it. There's really no middle ground. I said Series 1, like on a return, now it's too late. So I gave him a few like examples like that. So he pops in yesterday and he's like, hey, I got into cards. He's like, I've been working over here and I see all your cards, and it brought back all these memories of my childhood. He's like, my buddy's starting to rip some packs from Walmart. He's like, have you ever heard of Whatnot? And I'm like, yeah, I've heard of Whatnot. Yeah. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't like it. I'm like, I'm an eBay guy. I go, there's been a lot of scam. Whatnot's kind of like the Wild West of what eBay used to be. Nothing wrong with it. Just make sure you're breaking and buying from, trustworthy, reputable, responsible people on there. He's like, so I got into a break. And he's like, I really don't know what I'm doing. So I got the Reds, and he showed me, and he has pictures. He pulled I think his buy-in for the Reds was $30. And I think it was like a mystery boxes. So for $30, he got one card. And it was an Ellie De La Cruz, like atomic refractor out of 150. I'm like, hey, for $30, you got a good deal. Even though Ellie De La Cruz is kind of on the he's not the hot prospect anymore. And then he goes, yeah. And then he goes, I got a second team. And he's like, I'm a big Brewers fan here in Wisconsin. I'm a big Brewers fan. I got the Brewers. And he's like, I like the Brewers, but I don't like, I know Christian Yelich. And I'm like, hopefully I get like a Yelich. So he shows me what he gets. He's like, I actually got 2 cards with the Brewers, and he paid $50 for the Brewers. A Jackson Churio first chrome auto. I'm like, dude, that's worth a couple $100. And then he goes, oh, but I got another one. He got a PSA 9 Churio first chrome auto. I'm like, dude. So I'm like looking at him. He's like, yeah, so I saw the PSA 10. He goes, I know that's what everybody wants, and that's the big one. That sold for like $1,000. I'm like, yes, your PSA 9 is probably, I don't know the scale. I've seen a scale before of like the drop off. I'm like, you're still looking at minimum 500 on that Churio PSA 9, probably closer to 600-700. And 2 to 3 on the raw. I'm like, you got like in those 2 cards, you got like $1,000 for $50. You did really good. You got beginner's luck. And so he goes, I didn't even know who the guy was. Jackson Churio. I'm like, he's like one of the best prospects in baseball. He's like, yeah, he's like, I watch a Brewers game every once in a while. I'm a Brewers fan, but I don't I don't, I don't follow the prospects or anything. And so then he got the bug. So this is like all in this weekend. So he buys into those 2 breaks on Whatnot. Then he goes to eBay and he buys a Josh Hader Superfractor. And then he went to Walmart with his buddy and bought, I think he got some Topps Chrome. And I'm like, I forgot. Yeah, Topps Chrome is out. And then I told him my story of the Nolan Gorman. So my plumber is hooked. Plumber is hooked. Good to see. Good to see. More people coming into the hobby. We like to see it. Love it. What else? There was something else I wanted to touch on. Let's get to the chat, though. Where are we at? We got George in the house. What's happening, George? Uncle Rich commenting in reply to the title today. What does not sell is as important as what does sell. Rich says, true, what's in the value boxes after a show is just as telling as what is purchased from those boxes. Very true. Very true. There are some outliers, but for the most part, you go to the singles club at 2:00 in the afternoon and there's not much left. You get there at 9 a.m., 9:30, whenever the doors open, a lot better stuff in there. There you go. Uncle Rich says, I looked at the singles club boxes late Saturday and you could tell the difference. Yeah, it was, I had inquired about buying the leftover inventory like before the National started. And we were Chris and I were kind of talking back and forth. And when I went through the boxes, so this is like before the show, before the National. And I know what's in, for the most part, what's in the singles club boxes. Now, it's skewed modern this year. In past years, there's been a nice mix of vintage, 80s and 90s, like inserts and serial numbers, and then modern stuff. And in fact, I would say, and Uncle Rich can probably either confirm or deny, but it seems like it's been a pretty well balanced and almost skews heavier on the older stuff as opposed to ultra modern in the singles club boxes. Whereas this year, it's definitely skewed ultra modern as opposed to, I didn't find hardly any, 80s, really 90s on back. So, so that was kind of what, I wanted my expectation if I bought the leftover inventory was a wider range, more diversity, because I have so much modern Bowman. I don't need any more. I can't list this stuff fast enough. And guess what? It doesn't sell as fast as some of the other stuff. So knowing that it just doesn't move, I'm going to have to sit on it. It's a tough pill to swallow to, buy all this leftover inventory of stuff that I already have too much of and I can't sell it very fast. So in going through those boxes on day one, on Wednesday night, I'm like, I'm cherry picking, and then there's a lot of stuff in here that's going to sit in my eBay store that I've had in my eBay store for a year plus that's not selling. And that's the type of stuff that I know is going to be left over in the singles club boxes. So we talked about it, I think that Wednesday and then maybe Thursday. And by Thursday, we kind of started talking prices. And then Friday morning, I'm like, move on to the next on your list. I'm just going to have to pass. There's just not enough stuff in here that I can use for my inventory. But if you do, and that's not because it was bad. It's just, I have too much of it. So the next guy, and they tweeted out who bought the leftover inventory, could be stuff that he doesn't have a lot of. So happy that they were able to get it moved on. And obviously you knew they were going to sell it to get it sold to somebody. John, what's up? Sal Dougie is here. What's up? Happy Tuesday. Good morning, David. What's up? Good morning, Paul in the house. Royals 417 is here. We've got Dan. What's up, Dan? Donald Davis is here. Good morning. Angel Baby Cards, bright and early, 5:20 out there on the West Coast. Good morning, Andy Mack. Card hobbyist. It's that like took me back to my radio days. 5:20 on the West Coast. We had to give the time and temp like constantly. And it's kind of like giving a score when you're doing play-by-play on the radio because you can't see what's on the radio. So you're always giving the score. And when you think you're giving the score too much, you're still not giving it enough because somebody's going to pop on. It's 58 degrees. It's 7:21. So that was our time. It's 58 degrees. It's like every time you opened up the microphone, K100, 58 degrees. It's 7:21 in downtown Macomb. Let's see. Card hobbyist is in the house. We've got JW. Good morning. 3 for 32. Terrible like average. Hit that like button. Thank you, Dan. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit my eBay store. Drop a note in the chat. JW says, ready for the Cubbies to get some more wins and keep the Crosstown Classic trophy. I've got a Socks Suck t-shirt still. Now, I still have it because I think that's a guy thing. We keep our t-shirts forever until our wives say, it's time to get rid of this. And it's like, no, that's my Socks Suck t-shirt from 2001 that hasn't fit me in 15 years. I have it somewhere. And usually I'll tweet a picture of it when it's time for the Crosstown Classic. Go Cubbies. Good morning, Mark Marinello. And by the way, the Socks Suck t-shirt I bought outside of whatever the hell stadium it was called. I don't think it was Comiskey. It wasn't the new stadium, so it must have been the Cell. When did it? I think in the 90s it changed to US. Was it the late 90s they changed it to US Cellular Field? So I think I bought that shirt. I was just out of high school, so probably 01, and I bought it on the walk back out of the stadium. I make it a habit to hit the like button before I start the chat. Good habit for us all on this channel. Well, thank you. Ed is here. What's up? Good morning. He's got a busy day. Going to catch the replay. Flawed Thinker is here. Good morning. JW wants to know, what type of card savers do you use? I am considering switching over from top loaders. I would highly suggest that. I'm a big card saver guy. I do card saver, I think the ones. God, I always forget. They're the wider ones. They're a tick more expensive than card saver 2s, but I find value in that because card saver 1s, you can fit 3 cards comfortably in a card saver 1, whereas a card saver 2, it's a real tight. I wouldn't even try putting 2 cards in a card saver 2. So I do the wider ones. They're a tick more, and by a tick, I mean, like, I don't even think it's a half penny difference when you buy in volume. So that's what I use. I was team top loader. I hated card savers. I was team top loader up until maybe a year ago. And now I'm like card saver all the way. Now that's for shipping. For my own personal collection, I hate card savers. I love top loaders. I'm still team top loader for my PC. But when it comes to shipping, I am team card saver. Now, there are exceptions. When I'm shipping in a bubble mailer, I had probably a 1 in a million, maybe 1 in 500,000 thing happen where I had 3 cards, and it was about a $75 sale. I had 3 different cards, and I put them each in a card saver. So I had 3 card savers. I put cardboard sandwiched. The cardboard covered the entire card saver on each side with the blue tape. And then I put that cardboard mound inside an old used bubble mailer. And then I put that used bubble mailer inside a brand new bubble mailer. Boom. The guy who got it, it looked like somebody had taken the bubble mailer and just... And I'm like, you got to be effing kidding me. How in the hell does that happen? So maybe there was shenanigans. I looked at, the first thing I'm like, this is shenanigans. And I looked at the guy's history on eBay, Googled, nothing shady came up. So I'm like, Have you ever seen how some of these packages are handled by the different carriers? Shit can happen. And like I said, people are, I've had more damage. This is anecdotal. I haven't keeping track. I should. I've had more damaged bubble mailers than I have plain white envelopes. And people are like, oh, you got to use the armalopes. No, that's a waste of your freaking money. Don't use armalopes unless it's in a PWE. Don't. If use an armalope if it's in a bubble mailer, but PWE, you don't need any cardboard. Is something going to happen? The more you ship, the more likely it is you'll have something happen. But thousands and tens of thousands of transactions, I've had very few damaged plain white envelopes. There's been a few, but it's like a fraction of 1%. And the damaged bubble mailers, again, it's probably a fraction of 1%, but it's a higher fraction than my PWEs. Because I ship a lot less in bubble mailers as opposed to PWE. Good morning, Tiger727. So that's my answer in a long-winded way. Card Saver ones, there you go. Dan says it. Card Saver ones, they're the wider ones, the bigger ones. And he says brand doesn't matter. I agree. Just buy the cheapest. Especially if it's for shipping purposes. I mean, buy the cheapest because you're basically sending it from point A to point B. And as long as it gets from point A to point B, this is for card savers, top loaders, penny sleeves. They're for shipping. They're for protection in the shipping process. The person that is buying cards from me, they are buying cards from me. They are not buying the best supplies that money can buy. They are buying the cards. And as long as the supplies that I use to protect the cards get from point A to point B, then the job is finished. JW thanks Dan. Zach and Porter says, have a nice day. Flawed Thinker. I have Cheerios first gold shimmy auto of 50, but it cost me $600 to get it from an HTA break. Let's see. 4/7/5 times 3 over 5/16. Good morning, grinding for good. Too much math, Dan. Johnny Boy Cards, what's up? Good morning. Kyle is here. Good morning. Hobby Evolution, great on a morning drive. Where are you going today? Where's our drive taking us this morning? Uncle Rich says, yes, this year was a paucity of older stuff compared to previous years. Yeah. And I think that's because the price was 50 cents instead of $1. Yes, I think, and I told somebody, and I maybe even mentioned this on Hobby Evolution, the Singles Club this year, a letdown. And it felt to me like instead of taking the dollar cards and marking them down to 50 cents, it was a lot of 25-cent cards marked up to 50 cents. Were there good cards? Absolutely. If you got there early, much like Rich mentioned early on, if you get there, don't get there 6 hours after the show starts and expect to find some great deals. I found some cards out of the Singles Club boxes that I flipped for 10, 15 bucks, which is par for the course. And hey, even better that I got them for 50 cents this year as opposed to $1. But it did feel like a majority of the inventory was just 20. Because when I was just kind of flipping through the cards, it's like, I've got so much of this stuff in my eBay store. I'm just going to put this in my 25-cent boxes, which my 25-cent boxes are typically 20 cents or less when I sell them at card shows, down to 12 to 15 cents for many people that buy in volume. And it's like, if I'm paying 10 cents a card, I'm going to be losing a lot of money if I do this deal. Rich says, I did have a good time Saturday morning when they lowered their $3 cards to $1 and they opened that area on time, so to speak. I don't think I flipped. Were they in that Singles Club area? Maybe I did go through on Saturday. Maybe I did go through if they were in that, because I didn't. So the Singles Club had like basically half of their booth was the 50-cent cards, and then the other half, which I knew they were going to be focused on like more higher end sales than the dollar cards this year. but I don't think I looked through those boxes. John says, I've just requested my shipping of items from the USA. There's 34 packages of cards on the way to the UK. Hope they arrive for the weekend so I can dive into them like Scrooge McDuck. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Selling bulk by the MFRB is a game changer. Frees up so much space and turns cards not worth listing as singles into profit pretty easily. Let's see. Oh, that's the card saver dimensions. Aha. I wondered what those numbers were. I was very happy with all the TBT cards I picked up, which I had never owned before. Yes. So on Wednesday night, so this was in the singles club. The singles club had a ton of Topps online exclusives in their 50-cent boxes. And I pulled out a ton. Do I have any near me? A lot of them I've listed. No, I think I've listed most. I think I've listed all of them. So they had a ton of like Throwback Thursday. You know what? I bet I've got some over here. Nope, that's my Prism and Elite Extra Edition. So, but yeah, they had a ton of Topps online exclusives. There were some like Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. rookies. They haven't sold out of my eBay store yet, but yeah, I'm like, ooh, pick. Let's see, JW. So I adjusted on the fly to their change of inventory. Absolutely. It was not even Rob Veras who bought them out as he had in previous years. And I don't think he has bought them out the last couple times. Yeah, I'm not sure. I saw the picture on Twitter of who bought them out. Let's see. Uncle Rick says top 40 radio time, temp, and weather. Absolutely. And traffic. Even in Anaheim. We didn't have any. So Macomb, we had a little bit like our traffic updates in Macomb was the Amtrak is taking a little too much time at the depot this morning. So there's a backup from Jackson all the way down to Ward. That was about the only traffic that we had in Macomb. Let's see. Uncle Rich says, have a great day. We're at 11 of 66, which is well below the Mendoza line. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. M. Russo, 159. Wear them forever and then use them as a rag around the house. Old T-shirts. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what dudes do. Like, no, I want these jeans. Like, I have holy jeans. And my wife's like, there's holes in these. And I'm like, perfect lawn mowing jeans. I can garden, like I can still go to Walmart in these jeans. She's like, you can't wear those out in public. Yes, I can. Dare me. Yes, I can. Let's see. In that case, good morning. It's 8:22 and 80 degrees in central Savannah River area. Oh, that sounds the central Savannah River area. Is that Georgia? Savannah, Georgia? I love Savannah, Georgia. I've only been once. And it was for when I worked at the university, we played Savannah State. And it was Thanksgiving weekend. It was the Saturday morning of Thanksgiving, an 11 a.m. game, the Saturday of Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving dinner as a team at, was it the Red Ox restaurant in Macomb? And so we had Thanksgiving dinner in the afternoon, Thanksgiving Day. So we met as a team at our arena and then bussed over to the Red Ox, had Thanksgiving meal, and then we immediately bussed down to St. Louis, which is like a 3-hour bus ride, checked into our hotel. So this is Thanksgiving Day night. And then we had to wake up at like 4 a.m. Because I think our flight was at like 6. And we flew from St. Louis to Atlanta, and then we had to wait. We had a connecting flight. I'm at low major Division I, so we're flying commercial, baby. And so we had a layover in Atlanta to fly to Savannah, which we could have driven from Atlanta to Savannah in the time that it took to lay us over. And then we got there. We got to Savannah, checked into the hotel. Really cool old hotel, I think, in the downtown area. I had the worst headache that I may have ever. And I think it was like a sinus headache combined with the flight, combined with like no sleep. And it was just, I felt like absolute shit. But I still was able to walk despite my headache. I walked around a little bit, checked out Savannah. Then we had an 11 a.m. game the next day. And then as soon as the game was over, hopped on a bus, went back to the airport, flew back. So I did not get much time in Savannah, Georgia. JW says, yeah, I got some concert shirts from the early 2000s, memories. Yeah, I still have a couple of my wrestling t-shirts. I don't think I have my Austin 316 shirt anymore. I think I still have my Dennis Rodman NWO shirt. And like those shirts, I'm going to have to look for those because I can probably throw those on eBay. Maybe I already have. I bet I already did, like long ago. Paul says, Card Saver 1s are the bigger ones. Card Saver 2s are the smaller ones. I buy both and use the 2s for single card orders and the 1s for multi. That's smart. That's smart. That was, speaking of smart and what we're spending our supplies on, let's go to Twitter. Let's see. Nope, I want to keep that. Is that the one I want to keep up? Okay, let's just do this. Open a new window. Dan, our buddy Dan, U.S. card collector, United States sports cards. He had a good question. Let's see. Where are we at? Dan, where's your damn tweet? There we go. Okay, so here's what Dan tweeted. Okay. Let's share the screen. So Dan yesterday on Twitter. Here we go. Here's his question. If someone gave you $5,000 to invest in your sports cards business or side hustle, what would you do with it? So, and I thought of this from the angle that, okay, kind of like, what do you call it when you apply? A grant. So you apply for a grant, but you have to use it on, whatever category. It has to be used on supplies, or it has to be used on this or that. So that was my assumption. I have $5,000. I have to invest it within my business. So what am I going to do? So I thought about it for a little bit. How would I approach that? So my thought, and let's see if we can find my reply. Here we go. So here's my reply. I'd earmark 60% on supplies that I use and resell at shows, i.e. penny sleeves, card savers, top loaders. And then I would also buy envelopes. The other 40% I would be used for higher end, and I use in parentheses, to me, bulk inventory, because $20-ish cards to some people are low end, but to me, that's on the higher end of what I'm listing. So I would look for bulk deals where I can flip these cards for 10 to 20, 30, 40 bucks. So that's how I would use, if I was granted $5,000 to my business and I had to use it on something for my business, what would I use it for? So, and here's my thought process behind that. Obviously, inventory. Ideally, now, what's the number one thing that I could use for my business? Help. That's the number one thing that I could use for my business. But $5,000 is not going to go very far when it comes to help. Yeah, it's not a good long, that's a Band-Aid. And so instead of doing that, how can I scale my business up without putting more work on myself? And that's raising the price per card that's selling. So instead of a lot of like less than $10 and $5 cards, I push that up to $20 cards, and I could use that for inventory. The other 60%, why would I use that on supplies? Well, because that's long term. I can use, what's 60% of 5,000? $3,000. $3,000 I could buy a significant amount of envelopes, penny sleeves, card savers, and top loaders. And some of that stuff I can resell at card shows for a small profit. So not only is it stuff that I can use, but it's stuff that I've got extra. I can, make a little bit of this money back. So at the end of the day, maybe I'd go 50-50, but I think 60% on supplies because that's a long term and I can, envelopes, penny sleeves, card savers. That's stuff that I use on a daily basis, hundreds of times a day. So I would probably use the majority on supplies, and then that leftover 40% will raise it up. Now, if it was $50,000, then yeah, I could hire some decent help because $5,000 is not going to go far. You might get a neighbor kid that can put in some hours here and there, but if I hire somebody, I want it to be legit. I don't want it to be just like, oh, here's minimum wage, high school, college kid. I want it to be worth their while and worth my while for hiring them. So that's why I chose not to hire help, which is the number one thing that if I was granted money for my business, that's what I would use it for. So that was my thought process behind my answer. I thought that was a very well thought out question on Dan's part. So kudos to you, Mr. Dan. Where we at? M. Russo says, was in Savannah last month. It was hot in Savannah. I was in Savannah. Well, like I said, Thanksgiving. So it was great because, we had a month of cold weather here, maybe 6 weeks of cold weather in the Midwest. So getting down to Savannah, Georgia at the end of November was a nice break. Mark says, I still have my Cubs Buster t-shirt from 1980. Moving on. I don't remember how that race turned out. Yeah, the Cubs went on and lost to the Steve Garvey-led Padres. Boo. Brian Wolf, good morning. I was only 2 in 1984, so I'm not like as, like the old timers, 69, Mark's 69 Mets. People still, Cubs fans of that generation still hate the Mets from 1969. And then, generation, maybe the half generation above, because the generation above me, probably was 69. So it's like kind of like my older brother's generation. They remember the 84 Padres and Steve Garvey. Brian uploaded 200 cards to eBay from Card Dealer Pro, and it says one error, 199 completed. Download file, but it doesn't say which one wasn't uploaded. Is there any way to figure out what the card is? Yes. So I showed that off yesterday. So when you download the results, there's actually an error column. I think it's column E. I can't remember off the top of my head, but go to that column and it will tell you what the error was. JW says, shipping is what I want to use them for. Other than that, I don't care for them. Angel Baby says, as my budget allows, I'm putting more cards in one-touch cases. I don't mind one-touches. I've bought one-touches at Walmart a few times just to put some cards in. It's like, I'm probably not ever going to submit this for grading. And it does look a lot nicer than a top loader. Where's my Stroh? Where's my Stroman at? Did I put it? I think I put it in the drawer. I did. So like my Stroman, my cut auto of Marcus Stroman. It's in a nice one-touch. I like that. Where are we at? M. Russo says, Brian, I had the exact same issue yesterday. It was the first time and very strange. Luckily, it was only a 25 card upload, and it ended up being a card I had multiple of. No reason for it to fail. Was there a reason it gave? Why it failed? I uploaded a ton yesterday. I had a few errors, but they were because they were more than 80 characters. But I had, that batch completed perfectly, that batch. So 4 straight batches. One batch failed, one completed 30, and I'm pretty sure that was because of a character issue. That was the only one out of 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 batches I uploaded yesterday. Just one card did not upload out of the 8 batches. Where are we at? Shane's in the house. What's up, Shane? Good morning. M. Russo says, I think there is some sort of bug. I typically just pass the case and shipment costs to the buyer. My current fantasy win streak, 13 weeks. Damn, it feels good. I lost. Remember Sunday, 2 days ago, I said Sunday morning, we're talking about my fantasy baseball team. Nobody cares, but I said my team always sucks on Sunday morning or on Sundays. And guess what? I go in with like a 7-4-1 lead and I lose. I think I lost 6-5-1. I think every loss in fantasy baseball this year, I've had the lead going into Sunday, like a good cushion too. Now the categories are always pretty close, obviously, but then my team just absolutely sucks. And so I dropped. If I would have won, I would have been all alone in first place. Instead, I lost, and I'm all alone in third place in my division. Fourth place overall, third in my division. JW says, I find it somewhat amusing how every time I get a card in the mail from an eBay purchase, it's packaged differently than the last. Might be similar, but always different. Interesting. Andy Mack is an Armalope convert. I'm an Armalope convert thanks to this group. I'm using my remaining inventory of Armalopes for PWE orders over $10. That's smart. I like that. But yeah, there's no reason, if you're selling low dollar cards, there's no reason to be spending, because I think even if you buy in volume, Armalopes are like what, 25 cents, maybe more than that. Which, you can buy plain white envelopes for 3 cents, 4 cents. And they do the trick just as well. Let's see. Flawed Thinker says, I watched Neo's video yesterday about eBay starting a slow roll of making buyers pay immediately for items upon purchase. He did bring up the problem with combined shipping, but I think it's great. Absolutely. And this has actually been in the works for a while. I don't know why this, I think just because it's starting to make the rounds, and so everybody talks about the same topic. But this is something that's been rolled out for a while, and I'm surprised some of these content creators are just now catching on. So there's like a button you can click. You can, like a month ago, you could make your buyers pay immediately, and it's a pain in the ass because of the combined shipping problem. eBay, by the way, is aware of that. I reached out to somebody that he's an executive at eBay, and he actually responds to me. So every problem I have, I try not to take advantage of it. I don't want him to start ignoring me. But he's been great, and he gets right back to me, even on like weekends, like it's Sunday, and he's like responding to my gripes. So he said eBay is aware of it, and then the community forum, if you go to the community forum, there's great information on there. And so, it's been well documented in there. eBay employees are constantly watching that to see what is going on and, what problems there are and all that stuff. So eBay is well aware of the issue. So I think there will be, before it's like going to be rolled out in full, I think they'll get that. I hope they get that taken care of. But yeah, so I unclicked it, within your settings as a seller, because I was accepting offers, and all of a sudden I accept 12 offers from the same buyer, and I get 30 cents, 30 cents, 30 cents, because it's 12 different transactions. There we go, bitching about the transaction fee again. So if you unclick that, you can accept it, and then boom, it all goes into one transaction. So yeah. Flipping Sports Guy says eBay started that slow rollout over a year ago. eBay pace is like the USPS snail mail. It's been a year and it still isn't figured out. Sal Dougie's heading into the office. Have a great day. You as well. Angel Baby says, I do like the Armalope product. Thing is, I just do not feel comfortable setting out, say, an 88, 89 Fleer Jordan in a PWE. The thing is, what's the value on that? I mean, it's all worth to me. I don't care what the card is. It can be Judd Bushler. But if it's a Judd Bushler 1-of-1 valued at $50, I'm not going to send it PWE. If it's a Jordan 88 Fleer that's valued at $8, I'm going to send it PWE. It all comes down to value. Obviously, if it's over 20, you can't send it standard envelope anyway. So it's not going into PWE. But anything the only thing that's valued under $20 that I don't send PWE are like relics. And that's pretty much it. You know, even a thicker card, like say at Topps, what's some of the thicker cards? In this one here, Topps Inception. Like it's too thick to roll through my scanner, but it's not too thick for a plain white envelope. Flawed Thinker says, just heard, I believe it will be great for expensive items, cards, but not sure how it will work with consigners. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome for auctions. And I think it will be awesome all around, but not until they get the bug fixed where they've got to figure it out where if you take offers on multiple items, it all feeds into the same transaction. Otherwise, I think it's awesome. 100%. Absolutely. As long as they get those bugs fixed. Terry, what's up? Good morning. We've got AA cards in the house. Angel Baby says, what's worse is the way top loaders and card saver 1-2 require that you essentially push cardboard down into each one. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get around that. One false move and the card itself can be damaged enough to cause the card to go from a potential 10 to a 9 or worse. Lots have been a game changer for me for increasing average. The MFRB of bulk I sell for 40 to 60 each, and I have a lot of 9 that go for 5 to 12 each. Now testing lots of 99, aiming at 30 to 50 each for minimum. Yeah, I think once I find – so I've been pulling Michael Jordan cards, and I've been pulling Jordan cards to do my buddy Shane, who I'll see in Janesville Sunday. I'll be at the Janesville Card Show this Sunday, by the way. I was chatting with Mike, the promoter of the show. Mike and John are promoting the Janesville show. Just chatting with Mike, and he's like, "Where do you want to be?" And I'm like, "You can put me in the hallway again. I did pretty well. I've got some guys that are coming to my table anyway, so I should do okay." I kind of like being in the hallway, and I'm like, or just put me next to another bargain box so I can kill time by looking at other bargain boxes. So Shane is going to be in Janesville, and Shane was talking about Jordan lots, and I'm like, it's not like I have a lot of Jordan cards. I do. I figured out I did because I don't list basketball very often. So I've got these Jordans in all of these boxes that for future uploads. And I'm like, I'm going to try a Jordan lot. I looked up Jordan lots on eBay. Holy shit. And what did I say yesterday or the day before? Whenever I said auctions suck, the highest priced Jordan lots sell at auction. And it's a crazy, and I'm wondering if there's shenanigans going on with these auctions, because I think it's the same seller. But like 100 card lot of Jordan at auction from this same seller sell for like $350. That's $350 a card. That's excessive, I think. Initially, I'm like, I'm gonna list it at $150 or best offer and probably take 100. But now looking at sold, like I'm underselling myself. It's a good thing I comped it out. So yeah. So I've got that. I'm getting close, I think, to 100 because I picked up a few at the National. And I think I might, and then I'm like, well, based on these prices, maybe I'll start at like $250 or best offer. But a lot of the cards I'm going to be putting in this Jordan lot are going to sell for $5, maybe even $10. So I might start a little higher and maybe start at $350 or best offer and go from there. Because initially I was going to put a couple like $5 cards, and then otherwise I'd sell those as singles, and the rest just, dollar cards. But obviously, the better stuff you put in it, the higher price you can get. So we'll see. Good morning, Brian. What's up? Chris says, PWE ? PWE means plain white envelope. I don't think I have any in this room, but a plain white envelope, just your standard number 10 white envelopes. 14 cents at bulk for envelopes. Still significantly more than your 3 to 4 cents on standard number 10s. Found 250 envelopes at the thrift store for $1.50. That's another like kind of hidden gem. Now, I wouldn't suggest hopping from Goodwill to Goodwill looking for envelopes out in thrift stores. But if you happen to go to thrift stores and find envelopes, that's a great way to pick up good deals. Nick says thrift stores for the win. Always keep an eye out for supplies there or at garage sales. Absolutely. Especially if like an office closes down. Somebody, I think, was it in the chat or maybe even in the Facebook group? They found a whole bunch of envelopes. It was like an office closing, and they were able to get like just an absurd deal on envelopes. If someone pays PWE, I'm shipping PWE, not spending extra for Armalo. Absolutely. So the Inception cards don't go through the Inception. They do not. They do not go through the Inception. This coffee is not as hot as it should be for being in this mug. So what doesn't sell on eBay is just as important as what does sell. The reason I bring this up is because, there's one other thing that I want to talk about, the first Bowman. But we're going to talk about the topic here since we're 50 minutes in already. Somebody had mentioned on my Twitter yesterday. So let's see. Let's go to my tweeter. Here we go. So there you go. That was a look at my weekend sales, and then after I shipped all of those out, I still had that many items to ship after moving all of that. So it was a busy weekend. So there was a comment here. Nick said, I know I have only 5,000 listings compared to your 40,000, but damn, I'm lucky if I get 5 sales a day. Know what is not selling is just important as knowing what is selling. If your inventory isn't moving, take a look and either adjust your pricing or the content, meaning the cards that are in your store. It's very important. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll list in bulk 78 tops, 77 tops, 74, 73. I listed a ton last night, hundreds of 70s. Because that stuff, will it sell like right away? Sometimes it does. Sometimes as soon as I list it, I'll make some sales, and I'm pretty sure I sold quite a few singles in the overnight. But would I do that with 91 Fleer? No. And that seems like common sense. Like, well, no doubt 91 Fleer is not going to sell, but it does. Barry Bonds. I think I sold a Barry Bonds 91 Fleer yesterday. Ken Griffey Jr., Bo Jackson. Players like that, they'll sell. But am I going to list a player similar to Terry Crowley? If Terry Crowley had a 91 Fleer, I would not list that because I know it doesn't sell. Much like I talked earlier in the show about the singles club and some of the inventory, most of the inventory they had was ultra modern, a lot of Bowman. And that just doesn't move for me. Now, there's a couple of players from 2022 Bowman draft that I bought like 12 cases of paper. I have like 190 of each player. I did. Now, some I sold, like Jackson Holiday, boom, gone. Sold pretty quickly. There's some that's trickling. Dylan Beavers, trickles. I'll get a sale every now and then. Jed Fabian, same. Jackson Churio, Jason Dominguez. Drew Gilbert's been selling. Like it went from 190 down to, I think I have like 60 left. Jet Williams from the Mets. Another one that's selling fairly consistently. Drew Gilbert. Ryan Clifford is another one. So those are some of the names. But again, they've been listed for 2-3 months, and I still have quite a few left. So do I want to spend 10 cents to 12 cents for stuff like that I already have a lot of, and it's just not moving fast? No. But Ellie De La Cruz, was selling. I don't know if I'd buy him now. Jackson Holiday. Yeah. Boom. So knowing what is selling is very important, but so is knowing what's not selling. And it's like, do I want to buy even more 2022 Bowman draft paper? I have so much of it. And it comes down to, okay, well, I can still get $5 a pop for Jackson Holidays. And then you start working on the price. If the price is right, do it. But there again, you don't want to dump all of your money into something that you might have to sit on for a long time. So there's a lot of strategy that's involved, and everybody's situation is different with what the inventory they have, what they're looking to spend their money on, etc. Jamie's in the house. Sending an adjustment refund for shipping isn't much more work than sending an invoice. Easier, in my opinion. I just avoid that altogether and do free shipping. Donald says, I bought a lot of Jordans for $1 card. I bought a lot of Jordans for $1 card and free shipping. Paul says, my lots, I'm doing auctions with starting at $29.99 to $49.99 start price. Any that don't sell, relist at fixed price, aiming to do 34 a day to use all 1,000 free auctions per month. Very good. Through the scanner. Yes. So the Inception cards don't go through the scanner. I can try. I don't think, because it's a thick card. Just a comparison. That's a significant, you probably can't really tell, but geez, let's just take 78 let's see how many cards that is. That's too many. Is it this many cards? So how many? It's about that many cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5. So it'd be like putting 5 cards, but it's 1 card. So my thought process being that thick, it's probably not going to go through. So let's see if it does. Scanner's on. It did. It did go through the scanner. Here, let's wonder if I can I share that screen? I don't think I can share that screen. Oh, yes, I think I can. Let's see. What's that? Oh, wait. There you go. So it did go through the scanner. All right. And we're just going to X out of that. And Hail Mary hits in the house. What's up? Good morning. Nice order haul. Harlan, running late today. Good morning. Good morning to you. So one last thing I want to get to. Is Bowman Chrome. Bowman Chrome pre-sale is coming out today on the Topps website. I think release date is, it's next month. I think it's still 3 to 4 weeks out. So next week or tomorrow. Next week, tomorrow, today, Topps.com pre-sale for Bowman Chrome. Depending on price, I may buy some. I'm trying to limit my expenses in August because July, the expenses were. So trying to keep those expenses down for August. But we'll see, because I'm a sucker for Bowman. So there is an insert. There's an insert in Bowman Chrome. First Bowman Legends cards. A first Bowman card of players that didn't get a first Bowman card. Let's share our screen here. Want to go to tab. There we go. So there it is, folks. First Bowman Chrome, Roberto Clemente. I don't like it. Here's why. I thought it was a great idea when Topps made this announcement back at one of the conferences over the winter, I believe. They said there's going to be a Tom Brady autograph in Bowman Draft this year. And then there's also going to be first Bowman of Legends. And I'm like, a first Bowman of Legends? That's going to be pretty cool. And then I saw this, and I don't like it. It just doesn't do anything for me. And I think the example they show here, Roberto Clemente, I think the reason I don't like it is because that's a late photo of Clemente in his playing days. Like, I would have preferred a young Clemente, like a first Bowman of him actually being a rookie or a minor leaguer. You know, that was my thought process. But you get this, a later career Clemente. I am curious, and usually it seems like Topps has released the checklists when they either shortly before or shortly after, like the same day, they do the pre-sale. So it'll be interesting to see if a checklist for Bowman Chrome comes out. I'll be very interested to see this particular checklist of first Bowman for all-time greats. At first glance, the first look here of Clemente, I don't like it. What are your thoughts? There was a lot of hate on Twitter about this. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Again, you know, to me, it's just another insert, right? It's just another insert. Like, do I have? All I've got is vintage around me right now. Oh, I do. So we can stop this. So it's just another insert, like it is in your Scouts Top 100, which, by the way, I actually love this insert set. Really like that one. Christian Hernandez Atomic Refractor. Got that for 75 cents. So I don't hate it, but I don't like it. I acknowledge it. It's just another insert to me. It's going to be super hot because it's new, and there's going to be a segment that people will throw money at them. So that's a part of the reason, like, a little more added value to the product. So that's my thought. I don't hate it, but I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I just tolerate it. I will be curious to see. Now, if there's an Ernie Banks, you bet I'll be looking to buy one. If there's any other Cub or Cub-related one, I'll be interested. But I thought I was going to like this insert set more than what I actually do. So that was my last thought of the day. So if a checklist is out today, if Topps does put one out today, we'll take a look at it tomorrow on the show. John says, do you manually scan items that are too thick, like a flatbed scanner? I don't. So if, say, this Inception card was too thick, I would just list it from my phone. And that's actually why it's on the side. It was on the side because I'm like, I'm not going to scan this with the others. I'm just going to list it from my phone. It's faster. It's faster for me to list this on the phone if it doesn't go through the scanner than what a flatbed scanner is. I hate flatbed scanners, so I don't use flatbed scanners. If it doesn't go through my feed scanner, I'll just list it from my phone. Red Light 34 is with us. What's up, Red Light 34? So that's what I had for today. Scrolling at the bottom, Car Dealer Pro. I listed, 700, 800 cards yesterday to eBay. Check those out. eBay store link in the description. I use Car Dealer Pro. You can use Car Dealer Pro. Get 500 free scans if you sign up using promo code CUBS, C-U-B-S. And once you pay for any subscription at any level, you'll get 500 free scans. Go to cardealerpro.com to take advantage of that deal. You can also access my eBay store at 99centcards.com. That's 99centcards.com. Link also in the description for that. And don't forget, next Saturday is the Madison Card Show, Saturday, August 26th. So a week from this Saturday, Tables are just about sold out. I've just got a couple tables remaining. So we will be sold out. 125 tables. I still have to follow up with some people. So I'm by the end of this week, I might be oversold. I haven't even run the ad yet. So going to be a sellout show. 125 tables, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, a week from Saturday, August 26th. I'll be in Janesville, Wisconsin this Sunday, August 20th. For the Janesville card show, I'll have brand new bargain boxes, some really good stuff. I'll have a couple baseball boxes that are new, football, basketball, non-sports, hockey. I'm still trying to find my soccer box. Starting to fill up a soccer box. So that's this Sunday, Janesville. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We'll do it all again tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.